welcome back to GTD. That's Micah Farmer. I'm Keegan Miller, and this is our baseball episode for the week. And the month of May is over, so we have lots to talk about going into everyone's favorite time of baseball season, the summer. The summer stretch, it's filled with the All-Star break, the Home Run Derby, all that good stuff, and just a lot of tight baseball, tight, divisional battles. We'll really get to see who's got what coming into the stretch, the home stretch of August, September, going into the playoffs. So a lot of fun things to look forward to. You'll probably go out and go to some baseball games this summer. But let's talk about what's happened so far to lead up to this summer stretch. So Micah, take it away.
Well, Keegan, the first two things we need to talk about are two teams that are on pretty horrendous skids right now, and they are the Diamondbacks and the A's. Diamondbacks are 2-8 in their last 10, and earlier this week, Brandon Pfaadt threw a yes hitter. Now, you might be wondering, what is a yes hitter? Well, Brandon Pfaadt recorded 0 outs in the first inning before being pulled from the game, gave up 6 hits and 8 earned runs, and the other 2 runs came off of a walk and a hit batter. So horrendous outing for Brandon Pfaadt for the Diamondbacks. And if that doesn't just sum up this team's pitching so far, I don't know what does. You had him as your low of the week last week, and they said, what if we went even lower? Diamondbacks just have fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, we talked about, they have dudes, and I talked about Zac Gallen especially. Like, maybe he's one of the guys that if he can turn it around, he can kind of get his team on his back and go, all right, if Zac Gallen can turn it around, he's kind of our leader. Let's work harder for him. And as a pitching staff, your offense has been your offense all year, but as a pitching staff, maybe they can get in there and turn it around. It hasn't happened yet, and you're starting to think with the NL West and especially the NL as a whole this year, are they going to be dealing some pieces? Zac Gallen is in his walk year. Is he going to be dealt at the trade line?
Yeah, if they don't pick it up soon, they're going to have to deal players if they want to have any kind of future, because they very much built kind of a win now team, and they're not playing like a win now team, especially in this kind of division. They are massively struggling, so I think they're going to have to ship some guys off. Zac Gallen too. It's been a rough year for him so far, so I could definitely see him getting moved at the deadline. And then the other team that's really struggling right now is the Oakland A's. I remember 2 weeks ago, I had them as my high of the week, as they were winners of, I think, 9 of their last 10 at that point, and now they have lost 17 of their last 18 games. It was 3 weeks ago. In those 3 weeks, they've lost 17 of their last 18, and oh my goodness. As soon as the schedule started to get even a little bit hard, the A's imploded. They're starting to play teams that can actually hit at that minor league ballpark, and those teams are not giving the A's any chance whatsoever. The pitching is dead. The lineup looks dead. This team looks like a bottom 4 team in Major League Baseball right now, as opposed to the potential upside that a lot of people saw in this team. I know not a lot of people were as high on them as I was, but still a lot of people had this team as maybe kind of in the 20th best team area, but no, they are right back down, bottom 4 or 5 team in the league. They are horrendous right now.
Yeah, so basically what we're saying is if we mention you, even as our high, I mean, you better just buckle up for the next week. Yeah, because it's sayonara from there. So that's on us. We'll work on that. We'll try to, maybe we'll start talking about the Cardinals. The Cardinals will be everything we talk about.
The Cardinals are so good, dude. They're the best team in baseball.
Yeah, the Cardinals and like the Brewers, because we can collectively all.
I'm trying it today. Stay tuned for my high of the week. I'm trying it today.
Yeah. So we're not going to go to highs and lows yet. We also have another wrinkle we're going to throw in today as far as the things we're talking about. But there's an interesting question that we have that we want to ask y'all about, and we're also going to discuss a little bit. And that's, could we have repeat MVPs for the first time ever, which is shocking to me. But obviously it's Judge and Ohtani. Will Ohtani sweep his first years in the National League and win, back-to-back MVPs? And Judge is going to win the AL MVP. If they want to give it to a pitcher this year, but he's probably going to win the AL MVP. So I think the question really boils down to Ohtani and whether or not he can get it done or not.
Yeah, I completely agree. Aaron Judge at this point kind of has AL locked up. If the NL is going to be challenged, you're going to have to see a guy like Fernando Tatis or PCA really make a push for that. And I know you love PCA, but he's kind of starting to struggle a little recently. Still been a great player, but a couple rough games. Fernando Tatis really been on a downturn. Some of the other guys you would consider big MVP favorites in the NL, Juan Soto really hasn't been it this year. Ronald Acuna obviously had the late start of the year and has been decent so far. Not otherworldly, but decent so far. So it kind of looks like it's going to be one of Ohtani's teammates if anyone does dethrone him, if PCA and Fernando can't get going, and I just don't see that happening. So I think the further we go into the year, the more consistent Ohtani is, the more likely he is to be able to run it back. So at this point, I'd be hesitant to commit to yes, we have a repeat in both leagues, but I think it's definitely more than a slim chance.
Yeah, I think there's a very, very good chance we see that. I think you mentioned PCA. Even he is starting to see. I mean, he had a 3-hit game on Sunday, and he's having a decent night tonight already. So he's starting to bounce back a little bit. But even if his hitting stats are just a step below, and let's say every category, a step below Otani in every category, but like just like minusculely below Otani, I still think there's a good shot he gets it because of his speed and his dynamic defense. And they change ball games. I think he's leading in WAR. He's top 4 in stolen bases. He got 20 tonight. So he's 15 and 20 with home runs and stolen bases. So I think even if he's just slightly below Otani in hitting, now this is barring Otani doesn't make it to the mound this year. This is
Yeah.
strictly DH Otani. Now, he's been throwing. There's a chance he'll come back later in the year. That changes everything. And he's probably going to be a runaway favorite for the MVP. But I think PCA has a slim chance if he can just kind of keep doing what he's doing, not maybe a little bit more than what he's doing right now, but it's over the course of the season, just keep doing what he's doing offensively. And he's great on the defense and base pass.
Yeah, I definitely can see it happening as well, but I think those two guys have to be your favorites right now for that. Then a couple bits of injury news out of New York right now. Ronnie Mauricio getting the call up to the New York Mets after Mark Vientos is headed to the 10-day IL with a hamstring injury. A guy that's really been a hyped up prospect for a while now, having a pretty decent year in the minors to this point. So hopefully Mauricio can fill in because I know Vientos has been struggling a little bit to start the year. Maybe you see a little bit of an injection into this Mets lineup. Maybe you never know. Injection of youth, Juan Soto magically gets going. Probably not how that works, but you never know. And then as for the Yankees, Luke Weaver is headed to the 15-day IL, and Fernando Cruz is coming back. So a little bit of a pitching transaction there for the Yankees. Fernando Cruz, solid pitcher when he's on, but Luke Weaver's kind of been your shutdown guy the last couple years for New York. And even though you have Devin Williams now, it's been a little bit of a rocky start with him. So I know those fans that they're going to be missing Weaver big time.
Yeah, that's something the Yankees have been missing already throughout the year. Is they've kind of the back end of the bullpen's been really bipolar this year. They've shown some stretches of their stuff, and we know they have good stuff in the back end of the bullpen, but they've also just kind of faltered at times and struggled to be themselves. And when they're themselves, they were great, but they really haven't excelled at being themselves. If that makes sense. And this does not help them. Now, obviously, they have one of the best offenses in baseball, and that can help boost a bullpen at any game. But this is really going to sting, especially trying to make their way in the back end of the summer stretch and trying to really build for the playoffs and secure that 1 seed, get the bye, so you don't have to worry about your maybe lack of back end bullpen in the early playoffs, wild card, and other series like that.
Yeah, you hope that's something they can get shored up. And maybe you never know. If some of these teams are dealing bullpen arms at the deadline, I would not be surprised to see New York or the Yankees go out and grab one of those. But the last thing we're going to touch on here before we get to high and low of the week is our pitcher of the month. And normally we just talk about player of the month, but I think everyone kind of knows who that's going to already between Aaron Judge and then one of Armstrong Otani on the other side. So we're both pitching guys. We love us some pitching action. So pitcher of the month for us here on GTE. Keegan, who is your guy of May on the mound?
I get to go first?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to go Kodai Senga. He's put together a really good year, but his month of May is where he really shined and kind of, in a month where the Mets offense was kind of, you mentioned Juan Soto just, being a little flat right now. It's a month where their pitching really elevated that team to keep them where they are atop they fluctuate with the Phillies here and there, but still atop the National League and in a great spot, prime spot for playoffs, pretty much no matter what happens at this point. I say that I could, pull a Diamondbacks or something, but, barring that, the pitching's really been that rock for them the last month, and Kodai Senga was the head of that. He had a 1.89 ERA. He only had 33 innings in 6 starts, so he's really, but that's just baseball. He's going 6 innings. He's doing his job. He's had a few 5 innings, 1 7 inning. But that's kind of just what they do. But in those 33 innings, he had 34 strikeouts. This guy is striking dudes out, and I'm just a big strikeout guy. Like, I love, those 2 to 3, 2 to 1 ball games where the whole team, just both guys are just mowing people down, and I think that's coming back. You see Scooble, a lot of people are getting behind him. Paul Skeens of last year, kind of carrying that momentum. I think people are really getting into pitching battles and the art of pitching and picking guys apart, like we did in the '90s. We had the steroid era where it was all about home runs and big blasts and all this stuff. And I think fans are really starting to kind of hone in. Maybe Pitching Ninjas help with that a little bit in his presence on social media. But fans are really starting to hone in on like the art of just making guys look silly at the plate. And that's why Singh is my pitcher of the month.
Yeah, and those Pitching Ninja videos are always fun for me to see. I don't know if you saw was it Dustin May yesterday with the like 3,200 mile RPM sweeper that just had a Mets player looking stupid in the box.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great video. But my pitcher of the month is, I finally get to show some Reds love, Keegan. It's Andrew Abbott. Pitched 32 2/3 innings this month, but one of those starts, that was in 6 starts as well, one of those starts had a absolutely great start going, allowed 3 hits, 1 unearned run because Reds defense, but then got taken out after 4 innings because of a rain delay, so could have gotten longer in that one, but still finished the month 32 2/3 innings and an ERA of 0.55, and the whip was at 0.98. So outstanding month for Andrew Abbott. This is not necessarily a huge strikeout guy all the time, and those numbers still aren't crazy high. 33 strikeouts and 32 2/3 innings. Decent for a starter, but definitely not a strikeout artist by any means. But this guy can just get through innings. He's kind of got the innings eater nickname for this Red starting group. He can just go out there and take some when you need some. But he has been lights out in May. This is kind of the rookie Andrew Abbott that we saw when he first burst onto the scene and had a great first 4 months as a Red. And if Cincinnati can get that guy back, they desperately need it, because with how awful this offense has been this season, anytime you can get a guy going 6 or 7 innings of shutout baseball or 1-run baseball is desperately needed. And I've loved to watch Andrew Abbott on the mound in May.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, if the Reds are going to make a push,
they're not, but I appreciate the optimism.
Okay, well, I was going to go on a spiel about how, it'd have to be a cohesive team effort between offense and defense. They can't be like the Yankees and just rely on the offense, or a team like that.
The hitting coach just doesn't want to win. The managerial side of this team, for whatever reason, just doesn't value offense. They're stuck in the 90s approach of, you got to hit it the other way. And that doesn't work in modern baseball. With yesterday or 2 days ago, the Reds trotted out Garrett Hampson with 2 outs, down 1 in the 9th inning. Down to the last out, we put Garrett Hampson in the batter's box when Matt McClain and Jose Trevino were still options in the dugout. We're like, no, Garrett Hampson's got this. We previously traded for Garrett Hampson this season. You might be thinking, isn't Garrett Hampson pretty bad? You're correct. And yet our front office sees that as the move that's going to... Exactly. Who is Garrett Hampson? He was a former Colorado Rocky that got cut from the Rockies.
Yeah, well, I think that's all you have to say about that. And we can go down a whole rabbit hole, but probably make a whole video about how the game of baseball has changed and how there's some teams you can tell. I think the best example is the St. Louis Cardinals right now. Well, maybe not this season, but their last 4 years just really playing old school baseball, and it
doesn't
not
work
working for them. Right, and so managers have to adjust. But yeah, like I said, we can go down a whole tangent, make a whole video about this. But I think it's time for
a Reds rant today. It's highs and low time. Yes.
Yeah, highs and low time. I'm gonna let you go first this time. We're gonna do highs then lows.
All right. Well, Keegan's making me start with the thing I don't want to talk about, and that's the Brewers being my high of the week. As much as it pains me, it's so sad. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're on an 8-game win streak. They're winners of 12 of their last 15. They're currently beating my Reds right now as we record this on a Tuesday. They'll probably be beating us tomorrow as well, so that'll still be correct. But they're great. They're playing great baseball right now. The Brewers pitching lab has done it once again. The hitting core has really stepped up. Christian Yelich is hot right now, and they're just playing great baseball. They're really making a push for this division lead. NL Central, a lot of people thought this was going to be one of the weakest divisions in baseball, and the Cubs and Cardinals have turned up out of nowhere. And honestly, the top 3 in this division are keeping pace with some of the best teams in baseball across the entire National League. And even the Reds, who are 4th in this division, are better than 3rd in the NL East and better than 4th in the NL West. So by average, the NL Central is actually the best division in the NL right now, as crazy as that might sound. And the Brewers are playing some great baseball in it right now.
Yeah, it is a surprise. The Brewers, it's almost poetic that there's two teams in the Central that are doing better than the Brewers, and the Brewers are going, hold on, we're supposed to somehow win this division no matter what happens. And then they just do it.
activated
Like,
the
they're just
devil
playing.
magic.
Yeah, they just play like they're supposed to win the division, and it's like a predetermined thing every year. But the Brewers, no matter what happens, they're going to win the division. You saw it with the Cubs like 2 years ago, Seiya Suzuki dropping a fly ball, and it just like the entire season imploded, and then boom, Brewers are here, we won the division. And you
time to lose in the wild card again.
Yeah, you just get the feeling that something is going to happen, and the Brewers are just going to end up on top of two very, very good ball clubs this year. And I don't know why I can't shake that feeling, but it's because it's the Brewers, and I've been in this division long enough to know that it's probably going to happen. But I'm trying to delay that like burden as long as possible.
It's going to be something dumb, like the Cardinals fall off and PCA strains his hamstring for 2 weeks, and the Brewers overtake him in the division.
Stop. We're gonna talk about Jac Caglianone now. I'm changing the subject. I'm cutting you off. Jac Caglianone is my
I'm ready to talk Jac Caglianone. Believe me.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you
Go
are.
Go Gators, baby.
Yes, he got the call up. Had an incredible start in the minor leagues. You're kind of thinking, all right, what are we waiting for? Like, what are we gonna do? And we were saying that maybe early to mid-April.
As soon as he got drafted.
Yeah, that. And it's taken till when did you officially get the call? June 1st, I think 2 days ago. So when you officially got the call, June 1st. So it took till June. So there's always going to be the questions of, like the Chris Bryant scenario and things like that. Like, okay, are they messing with service time here, or what's really going on? Who knows? I mean, the game of baseball is so different now with studs from college coming over and having shorter kind of minor league experience and more of that college experience. So I think managers and teams are still trying to figure that out. So I'm not going to point fingers right now until it's a service time thing. But yeah, had an incredible start. Was batting over 300 in the minors with 15 home runs. And I mean, 5 of those 15 home runs were probably like the longest home runs hit in all those minor league stadiums that he hit in.
So yeah, and that was in only 50 minor league games this year, the 15 home runs. So pretty outstanding clip for Caglianone, and then only spent 2 weeks in AAA. Spent most of his time in AA, and then the Royals are like, I've seen enough. And you mentioned the service time thing. I don't think it's service time, because you look at how they did this. If they would have waited just 2 more weeks, they would have had an extra year of team control. So they've almost forfeited a year of team control to get 2 more weeks of Jac Caglianone on the team this year. So I think it was more, we know we desperately need power right now, because the Royals have hit less home runs this season than the Rockies. So I think they know they need, I know ballparks are a difference, but still, those two teams, but you look at where they are in their respective division standings, it's not even close. So I think the Royals know they need that injection of power, and without making a trade, this is the guy that can really do that the best for you right now. And depending on the trade you make, even with the trade, this guy has generational power. While playing in AA, he hit a ball to the opposite field at 121 miles an hour. This guy's power is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's making his debut right now. So if he does something incredible in his debut, and we didn't talk about it because this is going up later in the week, that's why he's making his debut right now. I think he only has 1, maybe 2 at-bats, but he hasn't done anything yet that we know of.
Shame on you, MLB TV, for not making that the free game of the day. How dare you?
Yeah, but in case he does something incredible, we knew it. We called it. Oh my gosh, that was an incredible moment. Diving play, home run, grand slam, walk-off hit.
Home run.
He bunted. I don't know. He stole a base.
On the road. Somehow he had a walk-off home run on the road.
Congratulations, Jack. Good job. What a debut. And if you did nothing, don't worry. It'll come. You're a rookie. It's your debut. Shake off the nerves. Maybe go back to AAA for 3 weeks like Matt Shaw did. Come back up. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but it's time for low of the week, and Keegan doesn't have one, and I'll let you go.
So I'm going first, and you want to end on this one?
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to talk about it longer. Okay. My low of the week, you may have seen this stat kind of thrown around, social media. I think this is irrelevant, not maybe not stat, but like projection. I think this is an irrelevant projection, and it's just kind of a clickbait projection. But it's that Ellie De La Cruz is on pace to set the record for strikeouts in Major League Baseball by like 2034 or something in, what is it, 9 years? So he's on pace for that, you know what I'm saying? But the strikeout percentage is a little bit of an issue. It's lower than it has been over his career, but it's only lower by 3%.
And he's walking more.
Yes, he is walking more, but he's still sitting at a 27.7 strikeout percentage, which is down from his career. I think his career right now as a whole is 31, just over 31%.
Yeah, I believe it was
So
33 heading into the year.
yeah, so he's down to 27% for this season. So he's working on it, and I think he's going to continue to work on it. I don't think it's going to be one of those things. He's going to strike out a lot. I mean, that's part of the game, right? Well, yes, that, but also his game is in what the Reds want him to do is to kind of get more power in his swing, and you're going to see that with strikeout percentage. I mean,
no, the issue is that's not what the Reds want him to do. What the Reds want him to do is hit the ball on the ground the other way, but he knows he's the only guy on this team other than Austin Hayes that can actually hit home runs, and Austin Hayes has been hurt 2/3 of the games this year, so he knows he's the only guy with a chance to provide power spark for this team. So yeah, he's trying to take big swings, and he's missing, but the power's been on the rise recently, and he's still... The issue is, I think the strikeouts are just as much a function of the team and situation he's on right now as his approach at the plate. I desperately wish this team would try to put some more protection around him. And the team in the offseason is like, oh, we added Austin Hayes. That's all we need. And you're seeing Ellie try to make up for it by himself. And that's where you see these unforced errors come in, these huge swings and misses, because he's trying to do everything himself because he kind of knows he has to. And I feel bad for the guy, honestly. He's in a horrible situation, and he's trying to make the best of it. And I know the strikeout number is obviously not where you would want it to be. I can't blame it all on him.
Yeah, Ellie's one of those players that a team needs to build around. And I feel like what the Reds have done is they've gone, well, this guy should do this, and this guy should do this, and this guy could do this, and this guy could be this. They don't have guys that are doing that, and guys that am doing this and are helping this and are doing this. So I think they think they're building around him, but they're just not. And I don't know if it's not like a Pirates Rockies thing. Well, not even Rockies because they spend money. It just doesn't work out.
It's like imagine if the Tampa Bay Rays had the same approach, but every move they made failed. That's kind of what the Reds do.
Yeah. So you would love to see them just kind of get something to help this guy out because I mean. He really is the only spark in lineup right now. And if you're pitching to him, you just kind of go, here you go, Ellie. We're just going to like, oh, you got a single? That's great. We're going to strike out the guys behind you. That's part of the reason
he walks so much too, is because everyone pitches around him.
Right. Yeah. And I don't blame them. So
yeah, exactly.
I think part of the problem is the team. And I think getting guys around him would help that. So I don't think he's going to, we're not going to talk about if he's going to break the strikeout record or not right now. Because that's not even on the table right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll just go to your low. What is your low?
Well, I figured we'd end on something a bit more lighthearted. My low is the crowd at the Rockies-Marlins game, which if y'all didn't see that picture, I'll put it up on the screen if I can find it again. It should be up there, but it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. I believe the announced attendance was a little over 5,000, which for a Major League Baseball game is awful. And the city of Miami has showed that if you're good, they'll show up. Look at Florida Panthers games. That team is great right now. They're in the Cup final. Those fans have no one here, and I don't blame them because who do you want to watch on the Marlins now that Santi Alcantara is terrible? And then who do you want to watch on the Rockies? Not really anyone. So it's just kind of a tough situation, and obviously you love to see more fans show up than this, but I don't really blame the fans. And honestly, just to see that picture, how can you look at that picture and not say there needs to be a salary floor in baseball?
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, we could say so
much.
How
you make more money, owners? Hey, owners out there, you make more money if the people actually show up to the games. You know how they show up to the games? If you put competitive teams on the field. This little life hack for you guys. If you want more money, you get more money when the people show up, and the people show up, and then they buy concessions. And then you make even more money if your team makes the postseason, and then you get extra games.
Yeah, well, this isn't going to help what you just said about putting a competitive product on the field. But my advice to the Marlins is trade Alcantara as humanly fast as possible. If you can get him on a bus tonight. I don't think so. If you can get him on a bus tonight, you do it. Or you do what you said. Just, really go in. You pull him into your locker room and go, hey, buddy, we're trying to get rid of. I know you don't want to be here. We don't want you here either. Okay. So I really need these next 3 starts to be the best 3 starts of your life, so I can ship you to someone who needs some starting pitching. So
Keegan, his ERA this year is over 8.
Yeah, but it's you know what he has, right? Like
I don't know.
he's
He pitched when sticky stuff was legal, and then wasn't good after stuff got outlawed, and then had Tommy John, and has been awful. So,
I still I am willing to bet money he ends up somewhere.
oh, I bet he ends up somewhere, but I don't think he does anything.
I think he ends up with the Cardinals.
That would be hilarious. Although the Cardinals are making good, and I'm scared.
Yeah, but my bet right now is the Cards because they need some rotation help. Miles
If
Michaels
he
ain't
ends
gonna
up
get
with
it
the
done first
Brewers
time.
and magically becomes a Cy Young candidate again, I might throw myself off a balcony.
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, the Cubs, Justin Steele's out for the year. Imanaga's up and down. Ben Brown has been shaky. He's ending up in the Central. One of those
Well,
three.
we know
The Brewers, Cubs, Cardinals
Yeah.
are taking him. He's ending up in the Central.
I could see like a very dumb universe where he gets let go by the Marlins in the offseason and the Orioles try to like desperately sign him. That would be kind of funny. But
I think they've read that right enough. I think they're like, all right, we're done with this Ferris wheel. We've tried
no,
this.
but they do it
has
again.
not worked
They
for
do
us.
it again.
This is the one, guys.
Yeah,
But,
this one will work. I promise. All right, but I think that's pretty much it for baseball this week. Been a fun baseball episode. If you want to check out our NASCAR Nashville recap or F1 episode from the Max Verstappen show that was the Spanish GP, those are already out on the YouTube channel right now. And if you want to see our NASCAR preview for Michigan, that'll be out tomorrow on the channel. So check all that out as well. But for now, I'm Micah. That's been Keegan, and this has been GTD.